Hey everyone, Corky here, and welcome to the year 1967. We're here at Circuit de la Grande, which you may better know as Circuit de la Sarthe, or perhaps just Le Mans. We're here for the Le Mans 24, not 24 hours, 24 minutes, because I've sped up the time to be 60x, so that we will go through a whole day cycle in a shorter race. And I'm here in the famed Ford GT40, of course made famous by Ford vs. Ferrari, which is kind of why I'm doing this whole race to begin with. And we're lined up, lo and behold, with a bunch of other race cars. Your Ferraris, your Chaparrals, your Lolas. This is going to be terrifying. We're going to go through the night in these cars. So I guess I just have to face my fears and start going. You can see down in the corner, right below my inputs, there's a clock, and that shows the in-game time. And now it's lights out and away we go, and you can see every minute in-game is a second in real life, which means that I've timed this to be hopefully about 24 minutes long, and thus will become 24 hours. Coming through turn 1, don't want to hit the wall on the outside. Still managing anyways. Oh, and just getting tapped on the side by one of my competitors. Oh, it's all gone pear-shaped. Guys, come on. Already a bit messed up off start. But I have damage turned off for a damn good reason. And all of that is just the Dunlop chicane. We're now about to head on to, of course, the Mulsanne Straight. Here we come, screaming past this other car. I believe it's another Ford. I'm not sure, though. Just catching that slipstream, maybe having a little more speed. Actually, no, I think that's the Jaguar. But yeah, you may notice the Mulsanne has no chicanes. Just one long stretch. Safety regulations were not what they were. And so I'm sure you can imagine the speeds at which we were pulling. Even though we only have 4 transmission speeds, we're still at 330 kilometers an hour. And now here's a very, very scary corner. This kink. You have to brake a bit for it. How brave do you want to be? I was a little too brave. It's off into the dirt for us. We'll keep our foot in it. But definitely not the optimal line through there. And now, coming down through here, I'm just going to brake at that marker. The AI like to brake far, far later, but I do not possess the same bravery they do. I do catch up to the back of them anyways, as they're kind of holding each other up. Down into first gear. I believe that's the Jaguar in front of us and the Ferrari next to us. Go watch Ford vs. Ferrari if you haven't, by the way. One of the greatest racing films, if not the greatest. But that is another overtake done for us. There's no rest for the wicked, however. As we come through this kink, we're going to have to start braking the moment we see that board. And that's going to be a general theme. If you see a braking board, just start putting it on the anchors. There is no point in risking braking late in these, because they all have just terrible stopping power. For the engines they have in them, the amount that these things can stop and turn is quite a disparity. Not managing to get past Mr. Mark Donahue here, but we will soon. But the sky is already turning a slightly ominous purple. Normally it'd be a beautiful, beautiful sunset, but of course we know what's going to happen once the sun peaks underneath the horizon and says goodnight. The moment night falls on this track, bad things happen. Especially if you're me, and you're prone to accidents. And now you can see with only one lap, the circuit's already getting darker, our headlights are on. It might not seem too bad right now, but once the black sky comes out, it's really gonna be a mess. We can't dwell on it too much though, as we have got cars to race and cars to crash. As we just hit the outside wall there, once again, damage is turned off for a good reason. I already knew this would be hard enough without having to contend for any mechanical issues from slamming our car into a wall. And now, nighttime is essentially upon us. Gonna be back onto the Mulsanne. Oh, and we almost looped the car. We do loop the car around. And we are now left in a ditch the wrong way. We just completely looped it around. This car is super unstable in first gear. And now you understand. It is dark. I've actually upped the brightness in my settings just to make it so that you guys can see. In real life, it would have been even darker. You would not have had any vision outside of these headlights. We do, just because I didn't want you guys to have to squint at the screen because it was so dark. One good thing, though, is the upcoming kink has these nice reflector panels. And so we know that we have to brake. And we know how far we can make it. I think we are going to catch up to Robert Lampplow. Ooh, just dipping a wheel into the dirt. These things are unstable under braking. What's going on here, folks? What is going on here? Full traffic jam. There's a car parked on the side of the track there. Something has gone horribly wrong. And we've made it back up to P10. I am not sure what that's about. The AI doing what they do best. We do make up 6 positions from that, though. And are firmly back into the race. This is the hardest portion of the section, though. Hardest portion of the track, sorry. Coming up now, or at least I find it the hardest. It may not be objectively so. And doing it in the dark is even worse. This part's okay. A clear braking point makes it not as nightmarish. We have to make sure, though, not to go off of the track. That's the big thing about the old Le Mans circuit, is there were no barriers, there were no tire walls, nothing of the sort. You either had a concrete wall near the starting area, or you had a ditch. A sand ditch. And past that, it's trees and fields. Getting side by side now. This is not where I want to race, and this is not where I will race. I am not brave enough through here, and frankly, I think that's okay. Force feedback doing me wonders here, just tugging me in the right direction where I need to go. Oh, but maybe I've gone in the wrong direction anyways. Almost causing a collision there as we head off track. It's really easy to dip a wheel in these things. They just kind of pull to one side as you brake. We might be able to get Roger Mack here on the straight, and for sure we do. This will be a done move. That's the other thing, is at the pit lane here, there's no wall, just off to the side there, and that's your pits. That's it. Down to third for turn 1. Get as close to this inside wall as you dare, which is going to be kind of difficult. Up to the Dunlop Bridge. There's no chicane like there is in modern Le Mans. We're 4 seconds behind Dan Gurney. So we just brake for Tetra Rouge, which is, of course, much tighter than it is in modern day. Tetra Rouge is a small dab on the brakes in modern day, both in part to corner profiling and the modern hypercar. But here it is about a 90-degree turn, maybe even slightly more. And we are just thrown ruthlessly into the pitch black of night at Le Mans. I think it is a very easy thing to understand after experiencing this track on why it was so demanding. It's so demanding today, and today we have driver aids and a safer track, and we have, you know, we don't have to use the clutch. We have automatic shifter, semi-automatic. We have all of these systems, and it's still incredibly demanding. Can you imagine driving one of these? It is just ridiculous. With the unsafe track and the unsafe, difficult-to-drive cars, nothing here was in your favor. It was all pitted against you and as dangerous as it could be. We are seeing, however, the tail lights of Dan Gurney ahead, so despite the terrifying situation we find ourselves in, we still may be able to make up some positions and do well in this race. Oh god. No, make the boys back at Ford proud, but maybe not with behavior like that. Driving fast is the least of my concerns. Not crashing is far more pressing for me. And yet even that is a gargantuan task for someone who doesn't have the same skill as, you know, the drivers who do this in real life, or even just competent sim racers. I never like to demean myself, but there is no way to say that I am good at driving in sim. I am okay. I would not consider myself incredibly bad or anything like that. In fact, when I'm not commentating, I can be an incredibly consistent driver. But in a machine like this, in a scenario like this, especially when I'm talking as well, it is just such a task. That being said, I think we've made up a little time on Gurney since our little accident back at the end of the Mulsanne. And we crossed the line in front of those Ford pit boxes. Give a quick wave to our team if we wanted to. Braking as you come over the crests any later, and it's going to be into one of the walls here. You don't get to decide which. That's up to fate. This chicane is slower than you think it is. Ooh, and we end up kind of screwing up that corner a little bit. But there's only so much you can do. At least we didn't hit a wall, and so I can't complain. And now you can see, just look at how dark this is. This is the peak darkness. We essentially have a square to look at these lights, because we had worse lights as well. That's the thing. Everything about these cars was worse from the objective driving standpoint. Absolutely 100%. These things are amazing to drive. They're fun. But from the engineering perspective, these things are insane. I have like a tiny square in the middle of my screen to look at and say, yeah, that's all the visibility I get. The rest of it is pitch black. The headlights of Jean Burlis illuminate the track ahead of us, and now we are illuminating his rear bumper. Let's not turn in too tight here as not to get into the ditch. And then we come out in first gear. Only 1 second behind him. I am almost certain we can make this overtake. Top 10 is looking possible, but nothing is promised. And yes, that straight line speed advantage we have doing us wonders. We get past him with a decent ease. Oh, but we might not keep that position for a while as we just go off at that kink there. You never want to do that. He's outbroken us into here, mostly because we just have this lack of confidence that comes with being, among many other things, not that good at driving. We can, however, see the rear lights of Dan Gurney ahead, our old nemesis, and I'm hoping to pay him a visit. The fact that anyone was willing to do this back in the day is just ridiculous to me. But we are looking at a little bit of solace. The world is literally getting brighter around northern France. As we scream down the straight for our final lap at Le Mans, the sun is going to greet us once again in a kind of warm welcome. As a reward for surviving, the beautiful pink clouds as we claw our way through turn 1. Headlights still illuminating the Dunlop Bridge, making our way back to the back of Dan Gurney. Jerry Grant ahead of him could be possible. A P6 could be on the cards, but it really depends. He has quite that gap compared to me and Dan. Dan seems to have a straight line speed disadvantage compared to me. This GT40 is packing one hell of an engine. The AI really overslow into this corner. And so does Jerry Grant, seemingly. Unless that is a lapped car, which it may be given the huge accidents we've seen. And indeed it is. It's a lapped car. We're going to have to get past this lap traffic pretty quickly. And we make a dive on Dan Gurney. We're going to leave him space on the outside as we completely oversteer. No. Just getting a little bit too optimistic in first gear. We're going to have to just spin the car back around. Maybe we can catch him, but that's looking unlikely to say the least. He's now 12 seconds ahead. If we can claw back to a P7, I'll be happy, but no, we can't. I'm too busy looking at the scoreboard because I'm stupid. I'm stupid. Oh my god, and we drop another position. Just a tragedy. Down to P11, and now our goal in this last lap is going to be a top 10. Wow. What a way to throw away a race, looking at the scoreboard, forgetting about my breaking point, because there's just too many things happening at once. We are carrying a lot of speed through there, though. I'm finding my confidence. Joe Bonnier is looking a little bit slower compared to me. I do think a top 10 is going to be possible. Maybe even 9th place. Yeah, they're overtaking each other. They're battling ahead. Let's see what they manage then. We're going to go into turn 1. Slow down more than you think you have to. That outside wall is deadly and does bite. And we will probably be making, if I can dream, a P9 here. Oh, getting him under braking, but then just hitting the wall. We still get him there, though. And now it's on to Joe Bonnier and Roger Mack, who is also not particularly far ahead. We just can't loop the car around. So sketchy in first gear. It's the best acceleration out there. Second is so much worse because of the long gearing of these things. But first is just so Larry. You put a dab on the throttle and the car just wants to leave the circuit and park itself into the sand. We're catching up to Joe Bonnier. Let's just see if we can get Roger Mack as well. A P8 would be greatly appreciated, but first let's get to P9. And now we have to survive. To finish first, you have to first finish. And we aren't finishing first, we're finishing 8th, but that still applies. Because if you want to get any position at all, you have to actually cross the finish line. Yeah, Roger Mack isn't looking too strong on the straight. We're not going to outbrake him here for sure. We're just going to stomp on the anchors around here. But I do know he's going to overslow for this corner. And now our only duty, oh my god, is to not loop it around. He just completely overslowed there, and we get it done. Dan Gurney is 21 seconds ahead, so we have plenty of clean space to just throw it around the circuit for one last beautiful lap in the daylight. I was even considering doing this race with a little bit of rain on the forecast, but I decided better of it, as I'm sure you can imagine that would go just incredibly poorly. Wishful hopes aside, unfortunately, this car ahead is a lapped car. And thus, that's not going to be for position. But Mike Spence has just won the race. A big congratulations to him. We're just going to have to slaughter our way past this lap traffic. Please choose a side of the track. Oh, we just killed him, but it's okay. Breaking over this crest, you don't want to get too cocky, otherwise it's into the grass on the other side of the circuit. Almost crashed anyways. And then it's going to be down into second gear. Throw it in here as fast as you can dare, which is about that much speed. Back up into third. And then we cross the line after a whole lot of work, a whole lot of struggle, and a P11 for the books. That's not what my... Oh, wait, no. Okay, it is a P8. I was about to say, I got really confused. Did my relative lie to me? But no. It was a P8, and we get a little fastest lap to send us off. Hit the wall one last time for good measure. What an experience. Vintage racing is where it's at. Taking back to the 60s, where they had no regard for safety, and you could become a racing driver by simply being insane enough. I think I'm out of here. Probably going to go take a nap and smoke a cigarette, because that's what they did back in the day. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.